Alright, what's up everybody? This is Pac-Man 1987. I'm back again. And let's see, yesterday we were trying to do a Munar Polar Lander. Didn't quite go as planned. This all seems really super bright right now. I think I have the brightness turned way up still. No, I guess not that much. That's a little better. Anyway. So it didn't go quite well. Had to abort because when I got it up there, I realized it didn't have all the Kerbals in it. What can you do? Sometimes you just forget these things. So it wasn't all a big loss though, because I got to actually test a direct abort from trajectory to the moon. So that was kind of cool. I've never done that before. But I went ahead last night. I put up a lander, a new one rather, and got it on its way to the moon. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to that now, and we're gonna go ahead and take a look here. So here we are. Got this bad boy on the way to the moon, and if we look at it, trajectory-wise, it's looking pretty good. Let's see how we look at the moon. That's pretty solid. What I might want to do, I might want to kick it over a little bit. Actually, since I want to land on the south, that's actually looking really good because it's going to put me slightly off the direct south pole, which is fine. We'll be in the light more, which will be a little more useful. So that trajectory looks pretty solid. We'll adjust the periaps once we're more on the way. But for the moment, we've got a vehicle that's on its way. And if you notice, it looks like the Apollo spacecraft, and there's a reason for that. It's because it's modeled off of it. And we are going to go ahead and get ready to do separation. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and discard these payload fairings right now. As you can see, we've got a stacked configuration just like the real thing. But I don't want to do this maneuver yet until we're on a slightly more straight trajectory. We're going to go to about here. That looks pretty good. And I'll probably... battery do I have? I have a lot of battery on this thing. So I'm probably going to put away solar panels. Which one of them seems to have disappeared. That's weird. Yeah, you know how it is. Sometimes your solar panels just randomly break for no explicable reason. That's okay. We're gonna make do without them. So we're gonna point this prograde, and we're gonna turn on stability assist. Actually, we're just gonna point at prograde, and we're gonna turn it off. We're gonna give it a little poof of time warp to stabilize. That's a fun trick. You can actually stabilize your vehicles in flight with the time warp. We're gonna go ahead and do this. Pull up. I actually have this handy dandy docking tool. I'll hide my flight engineer stuff. I don't really need it right now. And we're going to control from here. Go ahead and separate and do this maneuver. So here we are. We have separated. There is some slight separation occurring. Not much, mind you. That's not a lot of force behind that. So we're going to go ahead and turn on SAS. Turn on our RCS. Give it just a poof. Just a poof. We can get away from it. We're going to set that as our target. And I'm going to arbitrarily choose an axis to rotate on. Like that one. And this is pretty good. We haven't drifted very far apart yet, so we don't have any major trajectory issues. And do a rotation so we're aligned properly. And we're gonna give it a little poof of forward momentum. Actually, do this. Okay, that stabilized us. Go ahead and kind of come in now. Oop, that's too much. That looks pretty good. We're actually pretty much on the money. Seems to be having some issues. Good enough. Nice clean docking. We can go ahead and put that away now. And a little poof time warp. Now, so we've docked up again. We can go ahead and deploy our remaining solar panel, because apparently the other one randomly broke. I do not know how that happened. I think it kind of just decided it was broken. So now we're going to head and remove this. We'll keep that on. And we're basically just going to decouple. And we are going to back away. Slowly. There we go. Now that has probably thrown our trajectory off, so I'll need to double check that. We're gonna get some clearance from that thing. We're gonna do something with it. This is controllable on its own, without any input from us. We're gonna point radial out. We're gonna give it a poof. And that should deviate our trajectory quite a bit. I think it's already quite out there. And this is kind of like what they did on the Apollo program, actually, in real life, in that once they separated from the third stage of the main rocket, they would have it dump fuel out the back, which did actually generate just a tiny bit of thrust. Obviously, we're just firing the engine, but it's same result. And the goal here is to get a trajectory that is in no way, shape, or form close to the other vehicle. And it'll just kind of chuck it off into solar orbit, which is fine. Now, in some of them, they actually crashed it into the moon. We are moving away from that at a good clip, good grief. They're still close enough together that we'll have to go back to the tracking station to switch. But that's fine. So, back to what we were doing. So we have a vehicle. They're docked. Now we need to check how our trajectory is looking. A little more off now. So we may want to do a maneuver to fix that. We can probably just do it here, actually. Let's see. I think we want to point... We probably want to point radial in. So what I want to do is I want to use the radial maneuver nodes. Let's check what our plotted trajectory would be at the moon. That's not bad, actually. That could probably just be a-okay. It puts us slightly on the light side of the South Pole, which is good. We're more likely to have light. Looking pretty solid. Now we do want to do a change in trajectory, because we want to. Let's apply. I'm not actually going to plot it. I'm just seeing what it'll do. We want to bring that periapse down to about 15 kilometers. As you can see, that's actually going to adjust the trajectory as well. So let's point retrograde. We're going to do this with RCS. I'm going to shoot for about a 15-kilometer periapse. How's my mono prop supply doing? Pretty good. Alright, and then we're going to point, I want to say radial out. Let's see. Nope, radial in. Now, what we can do here is, since RCS doesn't care what direction you're pointing, I'm going to do reverse thrust. Now we'll need to do another fix. Alright, let's do it with the main engine. Easier that way. So let's plot it out. We want that. That looks pretty good. A whopping 2.5 meters per second. I think we can handle that. To about the point where we're going to do the burn. We'll do this one with RCS also. As you can see, with these little tiny maneuvers like this, RCS is super useful. So that's got us on a really good inbound trajectory, I'd say. Let's plot next maneuver. See how we look. We can actually adjust this to be exactly on the Terminator line if we want. But I think we'll leave it about where it's at there. Pretty pricey insertion burn. Goodness gracious. That goes directly over the pole, so that'll be interesting. Let's see what the resulting periaps and apoaps end up being. That looks pretty solid. And we're gonna go to the point where we're actually in the sphere of influence and double check that. How am I looking delta V wise? Got 1,000. That means we're gonna use a little less than half for this. But that's not going to be a problem, because when we do the return trip, we're going to leave this whole bunch of weight behind, so it won't really matter. So let's go ahead and head to that sphere of influence change. Looks pretty good. Now we have a good idea of how lined up we are on the Terminator. It's actually almost spot on. Not bad. I don't think we need to do any tweaking to that. So now we need to figure out how long that burn's going to be. A, it's not telling us right now, and B, even if it was, I wouldn't trust it. So 405, do about 2.24. That's a 180-second long burn. 90 seconds before the node, we want to start that burn. Excuse me. Now we want to do a couple things here. We want to activate this engine, and we want to make sure that there's no fuel crossfeed going on. Okay, good. It's disabled at the moment. We'll double check that too. Why are you? Stop being that. No. I don't even know what engine that is. Engine? Is. Why always double check your staging even in the middle of the mission. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay. So we've actually, this will be a much shorter burn. 43 seconds. We want to start the burn at probably about 22, 23 seconds before the node. So let's do it. Alright, so we are inbound over the moon. This is the North Pole right below us. You can see it's really, really hilly. Why we aren't landing there. We're landing on the south. About 2 minutes out. Do a little fast travel. Fast travel to about a minute, but less. Oh man, that looks so cool coming in that way. I gotta put something in one of these craters here. That is one heck of a crater. Good grief. Alright, we're coming up on the burn. And here we go, we're starting. Now we had a lot less delta V than I thought, because we were looking at the wrong stage earlier. However, again, it shouldn't be an issue, because we are going to get a lot more delta V back once we dump this stage. And even then, I think we have enough to do a direct return. We'll see though. Start throttling down. .379 by 14.793. I can work with that. I think that should be just fine. Not quite a perfect trajectory the way I wanted it. It puts us a little on the dark side of it. We tweak that. Say we do no, not there. Actually do it right here. What will that change it to? About the same, slightly different, but that's okay. We'll do that. I think we can just do that with RCS, because I've got a lot of mono prop on here. I don't really need. That's going to take a while to do that length of a burn with RCS, but I don't want to waste the main engine. I have a feeling... might take a while. Go to about 30 seconds and then see how it's going to do. Oh yeah, we've got more than enough fuel for that. I think that's actually probably sufficient. Maybe a hair more. That's pretty good. Alright, so we've got a pretty good orbit. So we're gonna want to start getting ready. Now what we're gonna do, since we're gonna land on the south, let's do a low pass over it. A craft's point of view, just to eyeball a good spot. Okay, so we're directly over it at the moment. Definitely bumpy down there. I think it's bumpier than I can tell from orbit. In fact, it may be really bad. We'll see. That's the actual South Pole right there. You can see all the texture lines kind of coming together right there. Probably want to avoid exactly that. Maybe like somewhere over here. Ought to be good, or in that crater even. Oh my, yeah, we don't want to land directly on that. That's insane. Seriously whacked out terrain. Might even be better off aiming for some of this stuff over here where it flattens out more on the sun side, so we get more sun where we land. Or in like a sunny spot. That might be good, that crater right there. Have to see. Okay, so let's get some crew transferred. Alright, so we've got 2 crew in there. We're gonna go ahead and do a separation. Maybe about right here. we're gonna point this, point it radially out. This thing kind of tumbles away. Okay. I'm gonna do a stability hold and a separation right after we quick save. Okay. Got Mad Bro, he's in the thing. He's mad because he is not going to the moon. Alright, so we've just separated. Going to extend the solar panels. And we're just gonna kind of let our orbital trajectory do its work. Or we could, yeah, that could happen. That could totally happen. That worked. Okay. Try that one more time. Now this time, we've got quite a bit to work with. We've got 1,000 meters per second delta V to land with. Usually only takes about 800, so that should be good. I'm gonna manually activate this engine. And let's see. Yeah, I think we've got the ability to do this. Maybe. Let's kind of plot that. We want to look at the North Pole. Kind of lower our periaps above the South Pole. Now there's fun ways we can do that. So here's a fun trick. Different terrain is at different altitudes. You can kind of rough guess what your altitude above sea level is. You can see that we're hitting the ground there. So that terrain is 5.8 kilometers above sea level. So we want to probably shoot for maybe 9 or 10 kilometers actual altitude. We're just gonna line it up right with the, more or less, the South Pole. See if 9.5 is the magic number. Might be too high. About 5.8. That should be good. That's a whopping 3.6 meters per second. Line up on the maneuver node. You can see this one has a harder time holding that. A little wobblier. Alright. Alright. Pretty good adjustment. Now what we want to kind of do is decide where we're going to actually touch down. There can be a bit of guesswork to this. Sometimes. What's our thrust to weight on this? The 3.12 is pretty solid. We can use our trajectory analyzer to kind of get an idea of the results. So if we look at that, what is our orbital speed around the moon is usually about 5 something. If you say you zero out all your orbital speed, that doesn't help me too much. That being said, I feel like it's going to be about there. Not, you can always try again. So I'm only putting that node there to give me an idea of where we want to point. I also want to line this up. I usually do it with the windows down. That looks good. Let's see how we do. Yep. A little more jagged than I thought it would be. That's interesting. Might be a little tricky to find a safe spot. Give it a shot. We're going to change the view to free camera. Coming up on starting the burn. Oof. Big hills. Make sure we're going to get past that. Okay. Let's see how we do. Actually gonna be really close to the actual South Pole. Really, really close. Wow. Like that's it, right there. If we started a little sooner, we might actually have landed on it. As it is, I'd say we're going to end up next to it. Looking pretty solid. Yeah, probably best not to land directly there. Doesn't look like a very safe place. We're gonna do some adjustment here. Okay. I think it's not too slopey. It might be. Let's give ourselves a little trajectory here. There we go. Doing really good. Alright, we gotta do our final burn. Full stability assist. Rid of that silliness. Don't need it anymore. Pretty good. Very, very good. And we have touchdown. Very close to the pole of the moon. Look at that. Look at the sun over there. That's cool. Now the tricky bit with that, we want to turn these lights off. Let's go ahead and safe the vehicle. Leave that on. All right. How about that? Wow. Look how wild this terrain is. Where'd we end up? We're in a crater. That's fine. Very cool terrain around us. And then really, right on the edge of this crater, I might be able to get a Kerbal to that. Maybe. That's quite the ways away. But it is, this crater is adjacent to the direct South Pole. I mean, quick save. Let's give it a shot. We'll go ahead and send Valencia out. I think this is a ladder, actually. Yep. How'd I put that there? Oof. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. I'll walk up that hill. I'll fall over. Wow. Whoa. Yeah, as soon as you start moving down the hill, you get an enormous amount of momentum to go down the hill here. So we're gonna have to be careful. Come on. Alright. Leave that on. Little bounce, slight bounce, rolling, tumbling. Okay. We straight can't walk up this. All right. Oh, wow, we can't even really see. Whoa. I think also because we're near the pole, like really screwing up the camera. Yeah, the camera is freaking out. That's hilarious. Alright, so we're at least on some slightly better terrain. Up the ambient light boost, see if we can actually see anything. Hey, look at that, that's a little bit more more viewable. Okay, so that is literally the South Pole right there of the moon. Oh man, it's really tempting to go over there. I'm gonna go over there. I don't know if that's actually gonna be a thing that I don't just revert doing, but I'm gonna go over there because she doesn't have a lot of EVA propellant. We just wasted an enormous amount of it just to do that. And I think it is actually over there. It's just some really wacky terrain. I need to like put like a rover over here or something. Yeah, that's a little too far for an EVA thruster pack, but we'll try it. Oop. Well, A, we could see through the terrain, which is kind of fun. B, we're now rolling downhill. Looking really silly doing it. Oof. Far away is the lander. I think if I'm really patient, we could get to that, but my gosh, is that going to be quite the walk. I had a lot of delta V left in that thing. I wonder if we could take off and hover back a bit. I don't see this poor Kerbal walking all the way over there. Get to the top of this ridge and do another boost. More importantly, I don't see them walking all the way over here and then getting back safely to the vehicle. So let's load. Last quick save. See what we can do with that. What? Okay. That's normal. Alright, we got stability assist. We have 623 meters per second of delta V remaining. See what we can do with that. I want to maintain the same orientation now. Pretty good. If we could land like down there in that basin right there, I think we'd be set. Gotta keep an eye on that remaining fuel. Probably eyeballing like right about there. Let this thing drop a bit. Pretty well under control. Seems like a good enough spot. Looks pretty solid. Fairly flat. Fairly flat, I hope, maybe. Yeah, this looks really good. Alright, we're gonna speed that up. Going to touch down fairly slowly. Alright. And that was actually about the limit of what we can do. I don't think we can take off again, so. That's a little bit better landing spot. And there's a very good reason why I wanted to keep that line up. When we try to take off again to reunite with the vehicle in orbit, we want to kind of head off in the same direction it's going, and it's a lot easier to do that if you're already lined up to do it. So, let's go ahead and EVA our Kerbals. Also, I'm going to turn the ambient boost down a little bit. It's a little insane. 50%. Okay, maybe more than 50%. That's better. Alright. Let's get her out again. Jumping off. Cool. We want to head in that direction. How do we do? It's still a decent trek, but that's close enough that we can get there. So, give it a shot. Gonna gently hover right along. Yeah, this is working a lot better. Ever so gently press that, and I think that flat area is what we're aiming for. So good for us. I think. Yeah, I thought that'd be maybe a bit much. Doing pretty good. I believe this is the edge of the South Pole right here. I think. About as far as we're gonna go. Yes. Yep, this is it. Tell by the ridiculous and massive drop. This is the actual South Pole. We did it. We got to the South Pole of the moon. Look at that. Geometry and texture clipping and all that jazz. Wow, that's a mess. Very cool though. Quite the interesting terrain. I'm gonna do a quick save. Gonna kind of inch as close as we can to that without falling. We're gonna plant a flag. All right. How about that? You know what? Quick saving again. We're jumping in there. What could go wrong? I can't think of anything going wrong. Okay, I can think of a lot of things going wrong. I can think of all the things going wrong. Terribly, horribly wrong. I'm pretty sure we're gonna, yeah, we're gonna explode. Yep. Wait a minute. We're gonna go ahead and load that quick save and try that one more time. I don't know if I exploded because, you know, like I hit geometry tears and exploded, or if I exploded because I hit the geometry corner right there. Let's try that one more time. Okay. Alright, we are definitely clear. Nope, yeah. Yeah. So we can't jump in there, unfortunately. That's just a nightmare zone. You don't want to go in there. But yeah, so that's the South Pole of the Moon. You know, you hit it and you explode. But we put a flag there, so I'm gonna call that success. Now I guess, let's get her back to the vehicle. Gotta watch our EVA propellant. Crest this hill, and then we're just gonna coast. Doing a pretty good job of getting back. I should have just enough EVA propellant. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. There we go. Just enough to get back. We're gonna put her in here. We're gonna EVA the other Kerbal real quick, put down another flag. Mark the historic landing spot. I believe there's the surveyor satellite going over, so that's kind of cool. Let's switch to it real quick, see if we can see it. Yeah. Really fun question will be, can we see it as we go over? Sometimes you can see these things. I have the distant object enhancer. Maybe a little too far for it though. Yeah, it's not quite large enough to see. I've had a base before on the moon that was big enough you could actually see it from low orbit as you went over, so that was kind of cool. But that's fine. Switch back to milling. And we'll put a flag down. All right. So let's get back in and see what we can do. Alright, so now we need to plan our ascent. Is this still safe? That is still safe. Excellent. That's what we want to see. So, how are we going to go about doing that? Well, we have a vehicle in orbit we need to set as our target. Now, we want to see a few things here. We'll need our orbital data. Not so much our surface data. Our rendezvous data. So, the most important thing when doing this is we want to take off when the distance here listed straight line to our target is what orbit is it in? It's in a 15 kilometer orbit. It'll probably be about 15 by then. So we want to take off when the distance straight line to the target is 25% further than its actual orbital height. So for this one, that'll be 20 kilometers. So when it's in a straight line, 20 kilometer distance from us, we want to take off. Now, I just want to check. Okay, so we want to bounce that way. So, one quick save. And we're going to watch that target marker there. It's quite a ways away. Let's do a little fast forwarding. And there's a couple of ways to do this then if we take off with this method. We can either direct ascent straight to it, or we can do a transfer burn, which would probably be a little easier. So I'll probably go into like a 8x10 orbit. Okay, so we should now be able to see the marker for it. Maybe not yet. Throttle up. Quick save, because this may or may not actually take off the first time. I might have to fiddle with it. Alright, so the target is 50 kilometers away. Probably won't be visible until... Oh, there it is. We are going to use the target marker to try to line up with it. Close. Throttling up. All right. We've already got a kilometer apoapse. burn on the prograde. Adjust the orbit to match the inclination. That looks pretty solid. How's that looking? That could work. Alright, so we're going to go into target mode. We're going to start phasing our orbit to catch up to it. So closest intercept right now is that one. That puts us 1.6 kilometers away. That's a 20 meter per second maneuver. I can deal with that. Right now we're actually suborbital. So I don't know how well this is going to work, but we're going to try it. I think it'll be fine. So that's in 20-something meters per second in about 7 minutes. So let's head to that. Be a super short burn. Okay. What do we got? That's now our closest approach. 1.4 kilometers. We can probably tweak that more. Let's put a maneuver here. So we're off angle-wise. I'm actually not 100% on whether that's going to clear the terrain or not. No, it will. It's going to be really tight, but it will. Do a maneuver at periaps. Get this in a little closer. So alright, so that already gets us onto a lined up trajectory. That's 0.4 kilometers. That's pretty darn solid. Can we get any closer? 0.3. 0.3 might be it. Sometimes you can play with this stuff. Yeah, so 0.3 is looking pretty close. I'll take that. 300 meters? Heck yeah. 0.2. 0.1. I'll do that. Let's make it 0.2 for safety's sake, but I think we're looking at a pretty solid, solid thing here. So let's tune these engines down a bit. We don't need to be that crazy with it. We'll make them both 50%. That's going to be a little over a second long, so we'll do it at a third power to make it about 3.5-ish seconds long. And that should be quite sufficient. Let's see. Getting close. Hope we clear that mountain. I'll take that. 0.1 kilometers. Heck yeah. See if we can see time to closest approach. I don't know why that wouldn't be on there in the first place, but whatever. You can take a look at all those options. Okay. Here we are, we're cruising very low. What is that, the North Pole? Yeah, that's the North Pole. Quite a bit of speed. We're about 5 minutes out. Now, here's what we want to do. We want to point retrograde relative to the target's velocity vector. Because we want to zero out our speed. So we're looking at probably a little under, just a hair under, maybe 40-something meters per second speed difference when we get close to each other. Not going to be that much. So we're going to go ahead and scoot to that rendezvous. All right, we're about 1.5 minutes from the rendezvous. I'm gonna go back to normal speed. we're basically, where is the target even? Where is it at? I don't even see it, but it's here. I'm not even thinking this thing is going to take more than like 4 or 5 seconds. Where in goodness name is it? There it is. All right. I'm just going to start. How far away are we? This is good enough. We're just zeroing this velocity out. Cool. We have 0 velocity relative to the target. We're actually going to point at the target. Line up on the horizon. And then we are going to stability assist, and we'll let that thing do the actual rendezvous maneuver. Just because the RCS on this one isn't as good, if I remember correctly. At least it's a little more wacky wobbly. So, control from here. We're going to start approaching this target. Alright, so we're like right on the money. We just want to kind of cruise in about 1 meter per second. We want to take this nice and slow. And get this nice and lined up. Looking good. All right. We're pretty well lined up. We just kind of gently cruise on in. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Contact at about 0.2 meters per second. And there we go. We're docked. Okay. We're going to go ahead and transfer some of this fuel out to top this thing off. I think that's about as much as we're going to get. It's actually a fair amount stacked up in all this stuff, but we're not going to be able to access it, so that's fine. We can even do these if we wanted to. Let's go ahead and transfer the Kerbals. Probably be a good idea. Now we have 577 meters per second of delta V remaining on this thing. Now on the real Apollo, they dumped the lunar module overboard in lunar orbit, and it would actually, there's no such thing. Well, there's not, no, I won't say there's no such things. I'm not for 100% certain on that, but there really is. It's very hard to get a stable orbit around the moon. In fact, it very well might not be possible because of all the gravity-based perturbations in the orbits around the moon. Things tend to just kind of decay out of orbit much more rapidly around the moon than they do around the Earth. So eventually it just kind of tumbled out of orbit and crashed somewhere. Obviously that doesn't happen in Kerbal Space Program, so it'll just be junk. So we can either take it with us or leave it. Either or, really. Let's see about doing a trip back to the planet, though. And lo and behold, we actually are prime time here to send something to rescue these guys. So that'll be tomorrow. In fact, I may even just see. These guys back is going to be interesting. We may want to leave that. We very well may want to leave that. It can be kind of tricky to get these guys home. In fact, we may want to leave these guys in orbit until the moon and their orbit is lined up somewhere over here so that they can easily just sling themselves back in orbit without having to have all of these. So I think they're going to hang out in orbit now for a while. So their orbit is lined up in a more advantageous way to return. Because if the line of their orbit is pointing straight at the planet, we can just do a burn on the opposite side of the moon and we'll basically chuck ourselves into a polar orbit around the planet, no problem, with very little extra cost. So that is probably what we're going to do. I'm going to quick save real quick. I just want to see how much we're going to get by dumping this. So we'll have about 702 meters per second of delta V. So, you know, this thing is now space junk. All right. We'll move away from that. And yeah, we're just gonna hang out now. So they're gonna wait for a while till it's easier for them to return. Pitfalls of polar orbits. So I think that's gonna be it for this stream for the evening. You can see we've already got several objects getting chucked out into high orbits. I'm not 100% that this thing's actually going to leave. Switch to this real quick. That thing definitely is. You can see that that one's not coming back. This one claims it is on a Kerbal escape. I'm going to give it an additional maneuver just to be 100% certain of that. Okay. Because this is now on a polar or a solar trajectory, and it's got 900 meters per second of delta V remaining. We could probably send it somewhere, fly by a planet or something. Could be fun. We'll see. We'll play with that later. Alright. So pretty good. We landed on the moon. Landed on the pole. And if we look, my intrepid explorers are now in a good spot to be rescued. So we're going to go ahead and that'll be our next adventure, is trying to save those jerks. Probably something similar to what we just did, but I think I'm gonna custom build the lander for it. I'm gonna build a new version of that. Maybe a little more get up and go. Although that one was pretty good. So anyway, I'll probably be back again tomorrow. Time in the afternoon, evening. And we will go ahead and do our daring rescue mission. So if you are still watching, I hope you enjoyed. If you're checking this out after the fact, I hope you liked what you saw. And keep an eye out for me. I'm going to be back, and we're going to go ahead and save these poor guys. Let's check on them real quick before I go. Just make sure they're okay. Oh yeah, they're fine. Look at them. They're great. They're having a good time. That'll be our next adventure. We're gonna land like right there where we should have in the first place, and we're gonna save these guys. So, hope you all enjoyed and have a good one.